What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of Stars and Garters. I'm Katie Pettit, and TBH, I forgot I was supposed to do an episode today, so I am not the most prepared. I'm not the most prepared for this one right now, but we're gonna do it anyway. I have a whole outline for it, and it's really, really long, but I don't know if the episode will actually be that long. Depends on what words can come. I'm okay. What words can come out of my mouth right now. But yeah, so it is Random Friday. I get to talk about whatever I want. So something I have gotten into recently, very recently. I finished the first and second season for the first time last month, and thought I should give a review of is Young Justice. So if you don't know what it is a DC animated show. The first two seasons are rated PG, no, TV PG, and the third and the fourth were rated TV 14 because it got taken off Cartoon Network, so they were like, let's make it bloody. So basically, what it's about is like the sidekicks of the DC universe, so like Robin, Aqualad, Kid Flash. I couldn't remember his name. Kid Flash, and then like Miss Martian, all those little guys, the little children who help out the big dudes, form a team, and they get to fight against the Light, that's been the main thing. It's probably gonna continue to be the main thing. The Light is just like a bunch of really big bads, like bigger than like the Joker and, you know, those kind of people. Like more ominous and smarter than those people. Like, okay, I'll tell you later who it is. But basically, that's what it's about. Sidekicks joining up, fighting the Light. So, yeah, I was just gonna give a brief review of season 1 and 2 because I thought it was awesome, and I just was very, very happy with it. To be completely honest, what the rip? Okay, sorry. I didn't know what was happening, but I remembered. Okay, so basically, I kind of got into this show because if you'll recall from my top 10 professionally, that's not the right, top 10 vocally good singers, or whatever we called that list, one of them was Mr. Jesse McCartney, and apparently he voice acts, like, okay, and so he plays Robin in this show, and I was like, okay, that's really crazy that one of my favorite singers voices Robin, who probably is one of my favorite DC characters. I was like, that is crazy, and I want to see if it was like actually good, and I didn't really expect it to be great because I don't know, it just looked kind of, I don't know, it looked a little too teenagery. Maybe thought it was gonna be like a lot of angst or something. I don't know, but I didn't expect too much of it. I didn't expect to love it by any means, but the show is actually really cool. The main characters aren't all the most familiar characters. Like, pretty much everyone knows Robin, but like Aqualad, you know, or like Miss Martian. Well, I think she's okay known. Just like some of the most mainest characters were not as familiar characters as like the Justice League, but there's plenty of like fan service for DC fans. Like, there's the Justice League is very involved. They're usually there helping out, giving missions, helping on missions, doing whatever, and they're very involved, so you get to see them interact. They're just not the main people in this show. And then of course, as I was saying, those big bads. They did have an episode with like the Joker, Poison Ivy, and were forming a team that turned out just to be like a ruse for the Light. They were trying to trick them into thinking that was the big bad that's been causing all their problems, but it was another bigger big bad. And the biggest big bad, the Light, is like Ra's al Ghul, or they call him Ra's al Ghul, but usually it's pronounced Ra's al Ghul. So that's how I'm gonna say it, because that's what it looks like. And Vandal Savage, and like Lex Luthor, and all these like really big figures who are not as popular, I think, or whatever, but they're very powerful and influential and whatnot. So, that was very cool. I was not expecting Raish Uncle to. I said Raish. I was not expecting that dude to show up at all in this show because I was like, they're not gonna like touch that storyline. It's gonna be all about these kids' angst. But it's been like a super cool like superhero thing. It feels like a superhero thing, and it's very well done. A lot of DC superhero dopamine moments, fun chemicals. Um, yeah, just it's it has a lot of those, a lot of storylines. It incorporates just very, very fun as a DC fan. I've only recently been getting that much into DC, but I still know quite a bit about it. What? I still know quite a bit about it, but I just recently started like actually reading the comics and like buying them. But as far as I could tell, there's a lot of like, oh my goodness, it's that guy or it's that thing or whatever that's happening. It's just, yeah, it's been very cool. And so, yeah, the plot is super cool. Um, it had like, okay, I'm looking at my outline and I'm like, I'm not supposed to talk about the plot right now. So the characters, the main guys that we're talking about, the less popular dudes, but still the main people, are all very well done. I like them and they're cool. Robin is very smart, like Robin in the comics. He's just a smart little kid and he's doing all the flips and stuff, and he's a detective little boy and he's fun. But like he's a lot more, I don't know, fun than he is in the comics. He's less dark. Like he's less I mean, of course he's really really young, as in he's like still Robin. Like he's not even Nightwing yet. So he's very young, but he's so like he's pretty lighthearted most of the time. He's goofing around and stuff, but he's 13 when the show starts, so that possibly could have something to do with that. And not that I don't like it, it was just kind of a deviation from the usual. Superboy is also a main character, and he's basically just angry, and that's cool with me. I like that. Because his whole thing is that he was a clone. Gotta love them clones. Of Superman and partially of Lex Luthor. He's Superman and Lex Luthor's clone. Yeah. And yeah, he has existed like when the show starts for like 6 months, and so he's very angry all the time, and he yells a lot, and he punches things hard because he's mad about everything. So that's fun. Um, I like he's a very interesting character, even though he's basically just angry. He's still interesting. He grows kind of, I guess, but he's still very angry. And then Artemis is one of the characters. It's very interesting that they used her instead of Speedy, but Speedy is a whole deal in the plot that I will get into later. It's a whole insane plot twist kind of thing. But Speedy is Green Arrow's sidekick usually. But in this show, they brought in Artemis as Green Arrow's protege, and she's got a lot of secrets and stuff, but we'll get into that later. But she's an archer chick who looks like Green Arrow. I mean, she's under the tutelage of Green Arrow, and she's really cool. Her personality is, I like it. She's very like tough and no nonsense and very good at stuff and skilled. Um, she's really fun, and it makes sense when you know like her backstory and stuff. I think she's very different from she wasn't that from. I think she's very different than she was in the comics. I'm not totally sure. Like, I think she was like Arrowette or something. I don't know. It was something really bad. The name was not good. But I don't think her backstory was like this in the comics. But it's very cool, and she's a very interesting character. The rest of the team is still cool. They all get their chances to shine. Just those three, Superboy and Robin and Artemis, they're my favorite characters. But you got like Miss Martian, who's I I mean, she's a good character. She's done well. I just don't like her personality. She's too like peppy. Whatever. And then Aqualad, he's a good leader. He's just he's a little dramatic. He's a little, I don't know. I don't know. I don't love him. And then Kid Flash is great as well. I love Kid Flash. Kid Flash is great. He's goofy and basically he's a speedster. He's always cracking jokes. He's fast and he like is flirting with everyone, which is very interesting in the way they grow him with that. And then, voice crack. And I think that's the main ones that are the most established. And then, so I was gonna mention that Rocket and Zatanna come in like the last 4 episodes of the season, probably more than that, but they came in really, really late, and they weren't really there enough for me to care about them. They come back in the later seasons, they're still not given that big of a role. So, I don't know. I just don't really care about them because they just weren't there that much. But the rest of the team, super cool. And I don't think anyone really cared about Rocket or Zatanna. I think some people like Zatanna, but Rocket, nobody knew who she was. And Zatanna is, whatever. It's whatever. She came in at the last spot and she just didn't get enough time. So, as for the plot, the first thing I have listed is What the Rip. Like, it is so impressive. The plot is so impressive for a cartoon. Like, I didn't even know what was going. Like, no. I knew what was going on, and that's why it was so impressive, because it was absolutely crazy. I was very aware of everything that was happening, and I knew it was insane that it all made sense. Like, the first episodes were kind of more about just establishing the team, just getting to know each other, building it up, adding new members, or Artemis was the only new member that got enough time on the team. But then the rest, like all of the fights that they got into, all of the bad guys they faced, everything they did just like came together in the end. And it was just this insane plot twist. It started it. It was like, so there's this whole thing where where Game Master or Sports Master, I can't remember, it's one of the two, I can never remember, but he hints to Aqualad that there might be a mole on the team. And I thought it was Artemis because it was pretty clear she was like kind of sketchy and had secrets, but her secret is revealed that Sportsmaster, I think it's Sportsmaster, who has fought the team many times, is her father, and Cheshire, who is also bad and has fought the team and is an assassin, is her sister. So that's her secret. And so it wasn't her, but the mole that led the entire Justice League to be controlled by Vandal Savage was actually Speedy. And it was crazy the way they did it, because the thing was, the original Speedy, who's Green Arrow's original protege, if you don't know, the original Speedy was captured by Cadmus and then cloned. And so the clone has been around for like years, and his main goal is to get into the Justice League so that he could do this. So like, he didn't even know he was a clone. He didn't know he was a bad guy. He didn't know he was a mole. He didn't know anything. And so he just turned out to be a clone when he got into Justice League and like handed them over to Vandal Savage. And it was crazy, and like it was crazy. It was wild. Like the original Roy Harper, which is his name, like everyone thought he was dead because Cadmus took him, and now this guy, the clone, was all they had left, and now he has a bunch of clone angst, and it's all good. And like the Justice League tried to kill him because he was trying to be a good guy, but he doesn't turn out to be a bad guy, even though he like led the Justice League. It wasn't his fault, so he turns out to be a good guy, but it was still insane. He was a clone for the entire series. Like, there was not one point in the series where we get to see the real Roy Harper, just this clone. So that was crazy. And basically, so Vandal Savage is trying to do some stuff, like, I think it's leading to his bigger plan, which gets fleshed out in season 2. But so he mind controls the Justice League, and like Young Justice or the team, because they never get an official name, has to actually fight the Justice League, which is super cool because it's, you know, it's just a cool idea. You know, the little guys get to like fight their mentors and see how to beat them, and it's really interesting. Just for the record, Robin does not beat Batman by himself because it's impossible because he's Batman. But still, it is very interesting for them to like see them take on their alter egos. It was really cool, really good fight scene. The action all throughout the series was great. And there's a lot of it too, which I like. You know, again, I thought it was gonna be a lot of like drama and teen angst, but it's also it's not. It's a lot of superhero action and superhero stories, and it's more about that than the fact that they're little, the fact that they're young. Even though most of them aren't really young, but yeah. And it ended. The whole season ended on a cliffhanger where 6 members of the Justice League. It was like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, then some other people, I can't remember which ones were the other people, like disappeared for a full so and so hours, and nobody knew what they were doing. So that was the cliffhanger. Excuse me. That was the cliffhanger, that they didn't know what they were doing during those hours, and they have to figure it out. And then it ended. So that was season 1. Amazing last few episodes because the plot just got crazy, but it's like I never got confused. Even though, if this makes any sense, I feel like I've said this before, but there were times that I felt like I should have been confused, but I wasn't confused. Like, I was like, this is so crazy, it should not make sense, but they did it so well that I was like, okay, Speedy's a clone, like, you've shown the evidence, this is crazy, but I guess I have to believe it. Or, like, just all of this stuff. Oh, and Superboy, like, they had this one episode where they all kind of had secrets to reveal, so they couldn't, like, because some of them were being blackmailed into helping the light and stuff. So Superboy was taking drugs. That's not what they called it, but it's basically what it was. Lex Luthor was giving him little patches that he would put on his skin, and they would make him more like Superman and like have better powers. And I was like, so performance enhancing drugs, basically. And then like Artemis was revealing that her family was Sportsmaster in Cheshire, and Miss Martian had a problem because she was pretending to be a green Martian when she was really a white Martian, and the white Martians are ugly. And she didn't want Superboy to break up with her because she's ugly. It was really scary though. The white Martians are creepy. But he was like, I already knew, and it's fine. I'll just date this weird skeletal alien thing. You're still pretty. That was a little weird, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, let's move on to season 2. So I have in all caps the first thing on season 2, what the rip. Because the first season was like, what the rip? And the second season is like, what the rip are you talking about? They threw like 5 twists in my face. I mean, they're not really twists, just like stuff that was unexpected, which I don't know if that counts as a twist or not. But they just threw all this stuff in my face in like the first 3 or 2, I don't know, like the very first episodes. They were just like, guess what? This is happening now. So first of all, the second season takes place 5 years after the first season, which I thought was going to annoy me a lot, but it ended up not, because they, again, did it all really well. They were doing things that would not have worked if they had done anything but what they did. But they did what they did, and what they did was good. So, but yeah. So Robin is 18 now, because he was 13 in the first season, and he's a Nightwing. He's turned into Nightwing, which we didn't get to see, but he is now, apparently. And Tim Drake is now the new Robin, which means, and we eventually find out that, like, Jason Todd existed throughout that whole 5 years. Apparently he existed and died. So, like, okay. Like, we get to see his statue in the Hall of Dead Superheroes. It's called something else, but that's what I'm going to call it, because they have these statues for the dead people. And so, like, yeah, apparently Jason Todd existed, but not anymore. And Tim Drake is now the new Robin, which is cool because he's a good Robin. But still, it was very like, oh, okay, cool. And then there were a ton of new characters in the first episode, like Batgirl's here, Wonder Girl's here, Blue Beetle, Beast Boy, who was in the first season, but he didn't have powers then, and now he does. And he's 13, and he should not be a superhero because I don't like it. He's too much like a child. It's fine for Robin because Robin doesn't act as much like a child, but Beast Boy acts like a little boy, and then he like gets punched in the face, and I'm like, no, you shouldn't be on this team until you get older. And then when you're 15, it's fine. You can get punched in the face all the time. So, and then there's like, I think that's most of them. Oh, there's like Bumblebee and others probably, but those are the ones I can remember. And eventually Impulse, but he wasn't in the first few episodes. Impulse does get introduced. And oh my goodness. And then Artemis and Wally are retired. I have to find that out in the first few episodes, which stinks because I loved them. And like, they're still together, which is nice, but they're like not superheroes together, and that stinks. And that was sad. And then like apparently Aqualad's crush, who was dating someone else, and it was a sad whole thing, Tula, apparently joined the Young Justice in that 5-year period we didn't get to see, and then she died. So that's another person who it's like, oh, okay, they came into the team and now they're dead. Great. Okay. And then because of that, biggest plot twist of all, which I lost my mind at this, but because Tula died, Aqualad became Black Manta, who, if you don't know, is a big supervillain. So yeah, Aqualad is Black Manta now, and yeah, that happened in the first 3 episodes. I was like, okay, cool, I guess. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to process all this, but whatever. So yeah, the whole plot was just like absolutely wild from the beginning in the best possible way, but still crazy. I was so shocked that Aqualad was Black Manta, like that he was a bad guy at all. He seemed so reasonable, and then so sad. But yeah, there were a lot of storylines going on in this season, but they all came to the episode, the last episode, and they all kind of converged, and they were all like, okay, this is resolving, everything's coming together, and it's all good. So you got like the Light, still being bad, still orchestrating bad things, and they're now teaming up with the Reach, who it turned out that during those certain hours where those Justice League members disappeared while they were being controlled by Vandal Savage, they went to a planet, I forgot the name, but it's where the Reach come from, and they did crimes and terrorized people under Vandal Savage's influence. So now those 6 members have to go leave and stand trial in that planet for all their crimes, and so the Reach from that planet has like come down, and they're pretending to like ally with the Earth, but they're also teaming up with the Light to like enslave humanity or whatever their plot is, do bad guy stuff together. So that was one. We have Speedy slash Arsenal slash Red Arrow slash whatever he wants to call himself. That was the whole thing, because the clone Speedy changed his name to Red Arrow before he betrayed everybody. And so you had him, and then they found the original Speedy, and they brought him back, and he was missing an arm, and he was really angsty about it, and he was mad because Green Arrow and nobody kept looking for him except the clone Speedy, and they found him, and he was really mad, and so he got a robot arm, and he calls himself Arsenal now, and the clone Speedy slash Red Arrow, so clone Speedy is Red Arrow, real Speedy is Arsenal. So that's how we'll differentiate them. So Red Arrow apparently married Cheshire in the 5 years, which that one threw me as well. And they had a child. I was like, what? Like, why? That seems like a terrible decision. Like, they had a tiny bit of a moment in one episode of the first season. It's now like, okay, we're married and this is our baby. I was like, whoa. Okay, so you're gonna do that. Cool. And then Arsenal got super angsty and blew up something. I don't know. He just decided to blow something up, and then he joined the Young Justice team. So I don't know what's going on with that guy. He's real weird and he's real angsty about everything. So, and every time he went on a mission with the team, he would do something wrong, and like, just yeah, messed up something up. And then we had like Lex Luthor was in this plot. He's doing something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's just up to his Lex Luthor stuff. I don't know what it is, but he's up to something. He's like double crossing the Reach. I can't tell if he's a part of the Light or if he's like morphing between the Light and morphing. If he's like going between the Light and the Reach. I don't know what this guy's doing. He's just doing some Lex Luthor bad guy stuff. Then we had Blue Beetle, like literally battling his literal inner demons because his Scarab was like talking to him, and the Scarab was bad because it was Reach. It was like the Reach wanted the Scarab or something. I don't know. The Reach wanted control of the Scarab, and they got it eventually for a minute, but then he got freed. So Blue Beetle had a whole thing where his impulse came from the future because he wanted to change the future because Blue Beetle had been overtaken by his Scarab and went and destroyed everything and like made it what's the word? Armageddon? I don't know. He made it bad in the future. So Blue Beetle had to deal with that. He was all good though in the end. And then Nightwing had this whole crazy scheme to infiltrate the Light. So spoilers. I mean, I spoiled a lot already, so but more of these spoilers. So, yeah, Aqualad is not a bad guy, actually. He's like triple crossing, a triple agent. I don't even know how many crosses he's doing right now. But, he, like, decided they were trying to get him to win the old Black Manta's trust. Who is his father, by the way? The original Black Manta is Aqualad's father. Just, yeah, forgot to mention that. So he decided to win his trust to go infiltrate the Light and learn all their plans and try to foil it. So he's actually a good guy, and while we thought he was bad, he killed Artemis and like the one mission. She was like, I'll go help with this one mission. They were going back into the retirement with Wally, and like he killed her, and so she's alive because he didn't actually kill her. There was like some actual it was very intricately planned because they even had like a little blood capsule that they poured on the spot where she got stabbed, and it looked very dead. She looked very dead, but she was actually not. So yeah, there was like this whole crazy scheme that people were like slowly finding out about. I think it was like Miss Martian first, and then there's this whole subplot with like Miss Martian abusing her psychic powers because every time she would do it too hard, like her victims would become like comatose, and it would be really bad. And Superboy was mad at her for that. So she did it to Aqualad, and then she figured out the secret plan that was going on, and yeah, it was bad because he went comatose, and then she fixed him, and it was all good. And then like Superboy and Lagoon Boy, I forgot to mention Lagoon Boy. He's here also. I don't know what he's doing or what he is. I don't like him. I want him to be gone because he's just really weird, and his power is like inflating. he just literally inflates, like, and then his arms are still the same size though. It looks so goofy and it's so weird, and I don't like him, and I don't like that his name is Lagoon Boy, and I don't like that his real name is Lagan. I don't like anything about this child, and he's just very useless, and I don't want him to be here. But yeah. So all of those plots like went converged into this big finale where Artemis, after she died, put on a glamour charm, which is a magical thing that made her look like someone else, and she was posing as this bad assassin named Tigers who was helping Black Manta, who was really Aqualad, and they were pretending to be bad and really trying to trick the Light. And so there was this big reveal where they purposely got like found out, like discovered that they were not bad. They were discovered to be good guys, and then what's his name? I don't know. Slade. That guy shot them, and they looked very dead again, but Then like Aqualad revealed through his death that like the light had been secretly playing the Reach the whole time and like tore down their whole establishment. And so that was really cool. And then they were alive because Deathstroke was actually Miss Martian in disguise, so that was cool. And then like there was the last two episodes were like really cool. And after that big reveal, like he brings in the whole team, like literally everybody came in, and that was just like, as a superhero fan, that was a huge moment. And it was like, yes, all the superheroes, like they all like came in on the sides, and they were just like appearing, each superhero, and some of them were disguised as like the reinforcements that the bad guys brought in. And it was just like, everyone is here and they're all fighting, and they all got little moments, they all got little like scenes by themselves, like doing whatever they wanted to do, like just kicking butt in general. It was so good. That fight scene in particular was so good. I was just so happy. Just so happy with that whole thing. Especially when the Bat family started doing their thing. Tim Drake didn't get that much of a moment, but like Batgirl got her whole scene where she was taking out a bunch of people because you don't mess with Batgirl. And then like Nightwing, oh my goodness, I am a bad person because there was this one part where he took this bad guy's head and he like grabbed him around the neck and shoved his face into his knee, and I was like, yes, don't mess with Nightwing. I got so excited because I'm probably a bad person, but that made me very happy. And it was so good. The whole scene was amazing. And then Beast Boy turned into a gorilla and bit Gorilla Grodd, or Mala, sorry, in the shoulder, and there was blood, and then he got punched in the face, and I was like, that is not okay. He's 13, he should not be drawing blood from people or getting punched in the face, but whatever. The rest of the scene was absolutely amazing. And then this Black Beetle guy, he's with the Reach, Black Beetle, he's a Reach alien dude. He got away from the whole fight. He took the Reach's head scientist with him, and he's really mad at the whole world because he found out that the light betrayed the Reach, and he's like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna blow up the whole world. Or the Earth, you know. It's because he was super salty about losing and such. So they saved Blue Beetle, and Blue Beetle finds out his big plan, and he's got all these... I just looked down at my notes. I wrote, Black Beetle gonna destroy Earth. Okay, so he's planted like these magnetic field disruptor thingies, I don't know, around like specific points in the world. And so the big team, the whole Justice League, Young Justice, all the people have to come together and go in teams of twos and disable the technology, because Lex Luthor has to help them because he lives on Earth and he doesn't really want it to get destroyed. So they have a little brief team up. So he has anti-Reach technology, and they're supposed to put it on all of these things around the world to stop the world from going away. So, yeah, they had to go do that, and they did it, except for one. They missed one because it was in Antarctica, and I don't know why they missed it, because it's cold there, I guess, but whatever. So it was very tense and very epic and stuff. And so the two speedsters, because they have to get it to their super fast because the world is in trouble, so Impulse and the Flash go and head over there real quick. And someone mentioned something about there, because they have to run in a circle like to counter the energy of the magnetic field or whatever that's happening. And someone mentioned something about it maybe not being fast enough. And sweet innocent Wally, Kid Flash, goes and runs to help them, but he has been known to be one of the slower speedsters. He's still superhumanly fast. He's just not as superhumanly fast as like Flash. He's not superhuman. Alright, I got this. He's not as superhumanly fast as the Flash or as Impulse. He's just slower than them. And so as he is running, all of the extra energy that's being pulled away from the thing is like attacking Wally because he's the slowest one. And he so like Blue Beetle, like his Blue Beetle and his Scarab are cool now, and his Scarab is like, it's working, and Blue Beetle's like, yes. And he's like, there is a problem though, all that extra energy is attacking Wally, and soon he is going to cease. And unfortunately, Wally did cease for real. He for real died, and just how very dare you, Young Justice. That was very evil, because he is an excellent character. You brought him back for one episode. Kind of there, he was kind of there in some other episodes, but basically one episode he was there the whole time, and then you killed him, and that was terrible, and I did not like that part. I mean, I know it was like good storytelling, but whatever, I don't like that. I was very sad, and Artemis was very sad as well. Did I mention that him and Artemis have a thing? Yeah, I did. So Artemis was really, really sad, and then she had to go tell his parents, and I was sad too. And now Impulse is gonna be Kid Flash, and I don't like that because he's not. And Impulse is a cooler name anyway. And he's 13, and he shouldn't be doing this as well. But yeah, I did not like that. R.I.P. Kid Flash. And I think he's dead for real, for real. Like, he did not come back. He's not, like, I think he's dead. I think he's for real dead. So, very sad. I mean, he didn't die painfully. Actually, he was screaming a little bit, so it sounded painful. But the way he actually died is he kind of just, like, faded out of existence because of the energy. But still, it's very, very sad. He ceased. That's how he died. He just ceased. So, yeah. And that was how it ended. And they've kind of established a new roster, which is not really new. It's just got a few, like, people have left, like Wally, because he's dead. And it's very sad. And then they've got, like, Nightwing is taking a break because he's sad about Wally, because they're friends. And then, there's, like, this one kid, Static Shock. I forgot to mention the whole ethnic team, didn't I? That sounded really bad. But, like, there's this team. There's all these, like, teenagers that get kidnapped by the light because they have the potential to gain superpowers. And they're all ethnic. I know this sounds really bad, but it's like, there's, like, that's what I call them, though, the ethnic heroes. Which is, I mean, it's not bad. I don't care. It's just, like, funny that there's not one just white kid. Okay. Anyway, there's this kid named Static, or it's Static Shock usually, but he says, call me Static, so I think they just dropped out the Shock, which is probably for the better, because Static Shock is a little much. So he calls himself Static, because he has zappy powers. But there's kind of a mixed up roster established, and the new team, it seems cool. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with the next season, which I have bought, and I am ready to watch. I'm just rewatching the old seasons because I want to see Kid Flash, because I'm mad that he is dead. So, yeah. I'm very ready for season 3. And that was my review. It is a good show, guys. Go watch it if you haven't already. It's on HBO. If you don't have that, buy it like I did. I've only spent like $20 to $30 on the whole 3 seasons, which is not that much. So go get it. Just see it. It's amazing. It's very fun. If you like superhero stuff. If you don't, you might not. So, cool. Yeah, go watch it. I know I spoiled the whole thing for you, but I actually knew that Wally was gonna die before I watched the show, and I was still very sad, and it was still not fun. So you will still enjoy it. I promise. I don't promise, because you might not, but hopefully you will probably maybe enjoy it. So, yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you for watching through this whole thing. Very thankful, by the way, if you actually did watch this. I feel like this is kind of a niche interest, you know, and my niche interest episodes don't get as many views. So if you watch this, thank you from the very bottom of my heart. What was I gonna say? I just forgot all words. Oh yeah, make sure to follow, share this podcast and this episode with your friends. Comment if you've seen Young Justice, and if you like it, or if you're interested, or like, you know, just your thoughts, feelings, stuff like that. Yeah, make sure to follow and tell your friends. And I'm on YouTube Music, in case you didn't catch that. So, make sure people know where I am. It's Spotify, that Amazon thing, and YouTube Music now. So I'm on all three. I'm very versatile, or whatever the word is. So yeah, thank you for watching, and